Hey everybody, and welcome back. I still haven't decided on a name for this channel. Power of Will, it's not sounding as good as it did when I first thought of it, so it's a little too epic, I think, for the content that I'm providing. So I'll come up with a name for it later. My name's Will. This is my vlog, and I do this driving to and from work usually, or to and from the store, or wherever I happen to be. So anyways, today I decided to come up with an actual topic to talk about. It's my first time. I saw someone else do this video, and it's not actually about sex. I ain't telling you guys about that. Anyways, it's about first times doing stuff, first experiences. My first flight, first time I ever was on an airplane, was sometime in the 80s, and we were flying, I believe, to Disneyland. We were going to Southern California to go to Disneyland, and I have video of, I was filming that with my family's tape-based camcorder. So that's pretty cool. You can hear me going, you know, it's pretty cool. I think I was probably around 7 or 8 back then. My first kiss. Well, my first kiss, I have to go with not the first time I kissed someone of the opposite sex, because I was a real lovey guy when I was in kindergarten, so I kissed this one girl all the time. The first time, I mean, I had a girlfriend, a couple of different girlfriends through junior high, but the first time I kissed a girl, and I really feel like it was a real deal, was when I was in junior high school, and she was a Swiss exchange student. And I don't know, it was cool. We had a connection, and that was the first kiss, I think, that really was worth mentioning. Everything before that was, you know, just kids screwing around, pretending like they loved each other. My first, I'm really being bad here. I have a kind of a list of things here, and I'm trying to read it while I'm driving. Not a good idea. Don't do this. Don't be like me. Anyways, as I keep doing it. My first pet. My first pet that I had that was my very own was a pet gerbil who I named Alf. I don't know if you guys remember the TV show Alf from the 80s. About an alien. Well, this little gerbil was the same color as him, and that show was really popular, so I named him Alf. And I probably should have named him Snack, or Dinner, or Lunch, or something like that, because, well, I should have named him Houdini too, because he escaped from his cage I don't know how many times, but regardless of the number, it was one time too many, because he was eaten by our cat, Timothy. My first concert, this is pretty cool. My buddy went down to his dad's house in California every summer, so I would go down there for a couple of weeks and I'd visit, and we'd have fun, and Tom always came up with cool stuff for us to do. So while we were there, he decided it would be fun to take us to a concert, and my buddy and I really liked ZZ Top, and there just happened to be a ZZ Top concert while we were down there. So my first concert was ZZ Top at San Jose Stadium, and Steve Miller Band opened for ZZ Top. Back then I had no idea who Steve Miller Band was, and then even before that, the first act was a band called Extreme, and they actually, this was before they were even popular. Nobody even heard of them when they first came on. My first car, also related to my best friend Aaron, was his dad's car. It was a 1964 Ford Thunderbird, and I always thought that was the coolest car ever. And I talked my folks into it, and I split the cost with them, and they paid for it all up front, and I paid them back. And it was kind of a funny story, because it was down in California at Tom's house, and I live in Oregon, so Aaron and I had to go down and get it. As I'm going up I-5, there's a bridge that goes over Shasta Lake, and as I'm going across that bridge, I hear this, you know, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's the bridge sound. So I get to the end of the bridge, and it doesn't stop. I'm like, what the heck is that noise, you know? And I look in my rearview mirror, and I am leaving a trail of smoke like a frickin' Blue Angel. I mean, it's this white cloud of smoke that you can't even see through. And it's rolling off the back of the car, and I'm like, oh my God, you know, and I'm on Interstate 5, so I'm doing like 70 miles an hour, and I pull over to the side real fast, and so I get out of the car, I go pop the hood, and smoke is rolling out of the hood. Well, turns out I blew out the rear differential. There's a seal on one of the gears in the back, and it overheated and blew out, leaked all the oil out all over the freeway, and ran it out of oil. It overheated, got too hot. Well, that was that. Long story short, we fixed the car, and I got it up to home, no problem. My first fear, when I was a little boy, I was afraid of the dark just like every other little boy is. Funny thing is, I invented this ghost that lived in my closet. The closet always had to be closed when I went to bed because I was afraid this ghost was going to be in there and spook me or something. I was also led to believe by my older sister that Dracula lived in a tree outside our window. So whenever it was a little lighter outside than it was inside, and I could see that tree outside, I was always thinking that a big swarm of bats was going to come flying out of there. My first job was working for my dad in his cabinet shop, cleaning up around the shop, and I'm sure I did a really crappy job, but that's what I did. I cleaned out my dad's shop. Now, if you don't count that as my first real job, because I worked for my dad, I think he may have paid me in cash too. But if you want to go to my first real job, where I worked for somebody else and I actually paid taxes, that was working for a sign shop where they did vinyl signs. I cut them out on the computer, and then I would peel and stick the vinyl onto boards, and made sandwich boards and lots of real estate signs and stuff like that. So, not real exciting, but it was employment. I was about 17 when I had that job, I think. Anyways, that's a few of my firsts. Anyone else wants to tell me their firsts, leave a comment or video response. I'd love to check them out. And we'll see you next time. Maybe I'll have a name for this thing by then. Bye.